Hello, Search here for the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question that came in customer service. This one comes from John Nora, and John says his subject is the Master Setup Position, the MSP. I am an older member of your former site and purchased all of the videos there and cannot get them on your new site. Okay, unfortunately that has happened to a lot of folks. I guess you all know we had a big issue and I was forced to leave that other site, and there's been unfortunately some ugly things that had happened, and some of you got lost in that transfer because I was not allowed to contact all of you. And so the key now is all you have to do is, if you can't get them yet, just go on to customer service, contact Swing Surgeon customer service. All the information is on swingsurgeon.com, and they'll help hook you up with everything that you purchased. And if you just make sure you got a list of everything when you go there, and they should be able to help you out. And if you got, especially if you got invoices and stuff that from the other time, to definitely show your numbers involved, so they could search that up. They'll know exactly and help you out. So that's no problem. We'll take care of that. Just get the customer service. Now on to your question. One video you talked about the Master Setup Position, and this has helped me get the club started correctly and in position to go up the tree faster than anything else. Do you still subscribe to turning your right elbow into your body, the Master Setup Position? Thanks. Absolutely. It is Master Setup Position might not even be a good enough term to state how important that this is to make a good peak performance vertical swing. It's starting with a good takeaway and then being able to lift it. It sets all the muscles in the right positions to be able to make the most simple and one piece connected takeaway of all the body and the triangle of the arms and shoulders moving correctly at the right sequencing, the right speeds, and being able, and most importantly, to get in that mitt and lift the club straight up. It's that critically important. As you know, the first rule of the peak performance golf swing is golf is a game of angles. The fewer the better. So the key of the good setup is, of a perfect setup, a good setup is it gets in the proper angles, and now it's your job to just maintain them. All right? So you can start with a perfect position, but if you start making a bad move, like especially in the takeaway, first thing you do is you go in, you take the club away the wrong way, you take it you set up there and the right arm's too high, and the right arm is now higher than the left arm, which means that arm's on top of this arm in hand, which means it doesn't want it to go up. The club's likely coming back shut, means the face is pointing towards the ground, and at some point you can't lift up anymore until you do something like that, and then there's a big flip. So the whole concept of going in a catcher's mitt is designed to involve the fact that our arms rotate in front of our body, right? If you put your arms out, you can rotate them, right? They'll rotate about 180 degrees when you put them out like this, perpendicular to the ground. They can rotate 90 that way and 90 that way, no problem, all right? I can go a little bit farther and a little bit, but not much. Not unless I start changing my spine to help it. Okay, but if I keep my spine stable, putting them out like this to shake hands, I can go like this and like that. And we know the second secret is palms perpendicular to the ground throughout the swing. All right? So a perfect rotation is just a very small portion of what we can rotate. All right? So if this is my aiming line right here, and the target's right back here, my goal is to stand in here, and if most people we see have the right arm up because they want the club outside, to you to take it outside, little shot, and then you go, and then that helps in the rotational swing to get it on that plane where they want to hit, which we know is what? Laid off and heavy, right? It's a heavy club versus a light club, and as you know, you can swing a light club faster and more controlled than a heavy club. All right? So the right arm Master Setup Position does it all. Now again, what that means is when I stand here, I start the position up here, and I just take my right arm and I just cock it like this. So the first thing I have to do is soften all my shoulder, my shoulder girdle, and everything else, and just get it soft and droopy. All right? And I do that, and I get all of that, and as you notice from this view, I just kind of go like this. So it's giving me a little tilt. Now I got to make sure when I do that, I'm not pushing myself too far out and getting out of balance, because eventually we're going to do what? We're still going to sit back in our right side. So you see, I get my tilt, and then I get back on my right leg, okay, in the preloaded heavy right. So this gets me there. And I'm doing this to see that my club's staying square, because again, you can do this and do too much of it and get your club like that, and now your club face is open. If you come back like that and don't change your club face, and I see a lot of people with the open club face now, they change it by doing that. If you did happen to do a little bit of that and get out, you change it by turning the club in your hand not by readjusting your body, okay? So you want that droopiness. Feel like you're carrying like a woman's shoulder pocketbook or a briefcase, you know, your carry bag in the airport, and it's about 30, 40, 50 pounds, and you're like this, so you relax your whole right side, okay? So you get that droopiness. So now the whole key is once that arm is below the arm, and there's a degree to this. If you take, with wedges to a 7-iron, where the clubs are shorter, this arm might be just about at or just slightly below your left arm. When you get to the middle irons and the hybrids, it might be coming down to just below the top of the arm a little bit here. By the time you get to your fairway woods and driver, this arm, if you put a later club on it here, it would come to about the middle to lower middle on your left arm. So as the clubs get longer, you get a little bit more tilt. The caution here now is that when you tilt, and again, I'm going to use this as my toe line and in my vertical alignment issue of toes, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes being together. If I can actually get in here and overdo my right, my preloaded heavy right, and as well as the master setup position, get to a point where now I'm doing what? I'm pushing forward and I'm shutting my shoulders out to the right, which is going to very likely shut my hips a little bit and maybe even my knees. Won't change my feet because my feet are on the ground. So again, this view would be like I could get two preloaded heavy right, and it's going to overly lift my forward shoulder and very likely turn it, for me, a left-hander, out to the right, and I'm aiming right, well, pretty much from the knees to hips and the shoulders, okay? So it's just a natural movement to get here. So once I set it, I'm in here, and I just get in preloaded, and I get from the master setup position right here. Now what's important about the master setup position is the right arm, I'm going to get up here so you can see my elbow, it is now in here. It's not touching my hip, but it's in here like this. So now I could just take it and turn like that and then lift. And I actually feel, without a doubt in my mind, when I get in here, and okay, in the master setup position, you've got to make sure you don't let it pull your right or your lower hand close. You might get a little arch in the wrist here, but that's fine. This is the leading wrist, and this is the string in the backswing to impact. All right, so it's okay if that arches a little bit, but it's in here. Now I turn from here. Notice the triangle has stayed completely the same. Both hands are together on the club, and then from there they both lift up together to that perfectly equilateral triangle with the elbows basically dead horizontal or parallel to the ground. Okay? And that's how you can do that, just like this. Again, it's like one of my drills has always been stand here, and if you're going to, somebody came here and you were dressing the ball and they walked up to shake hands with you right here, you're not going to take your right arm and go like this and shake hands by straightening your right arm. You're just going to take, if you're in this position, you're just going to take your right arm and go like that. That's all you're doing, see? Put your hand in it, there it is. The master setup, and that is what? You bring it back here, there's your master setup position. It's that simple. It's another drill I've always used. I'm going to grab my clipboard over here. Is I've used it that you stand here and get in a proper position, and I call it serving champagne. A glass, you got a stain up here. If you got your right arm high like this, and you go like this, and then you have to break that arm, you're dropping it right here. You take it back 2 slides off that way. The whole key is to be able to come right back here and lift it straight up together. Where again, right now, my eyes can see that the bottom of this clipboard is horizontal to the ground. You get over here and you do something like this. Where's the clipboard? It's right there. Look at the triangle of my elbows right here. They're all off, right? So it's just here and up. Shake hands and up. Okay? So it's just a little bit there. Droop your right side. Get you into the master setup position. It's absolutely critical for having the absolute muscles in a perfect setup, muscle tone, and position to just go from here and straight up to the top with just the right amount of rotation and not one muscle, tendon, ligament, joint feeling like it's changing the swing up here until now. When I change this and I start to feel the pull of the club on my arms and stuff, I just get that force and right down and just crush it at impact and swing up to the tee finish. And but it starts with the master setup position. Ultimately, very, very, very critical. Great question. To do a good peak performance swing with a quiet takeaway, controlled takeaway, consistent takeaway, time after time, you got to get into that master setup position, starting with the droopy shoulder down and just straight up. Think about just shaking hands and serving the champagne all the way up here with that stain in. You got the bottom of the clipboard for your eyes to see that you lifted both hands up level, so that when you get here, here's your triangle, right? Very level. You get over there, it'll tell you exactly. All right? Master setup position. Great question. Very critical for really making a good takeaway the peak performance takeaway in the mitt and up the tree to keep the club vertical so you can hit it more solid, straight, and longer and shoot those lower scores. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.